part of what it takes to build a championship team is for everyone to know they're on a championship team. Please expound on that.
Yeah, well, so we had this town hall. We talk about the vision and doing big things as a company, but to be able to unite everyone's mindset to be part of becoming a championship team, and there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that, but then there's also a lot that everybody individually and together can take and rise and become greater because of that. And it literally, like, the aftermath of that event was insane. Everybody showed up differently.
Oh, you are now watching the All In CEO. I am here at the White Stallion Ranch in Arizona.
Yeah, outside of Tucson.
Arizona is like another country. And
it is. It's the desert.
It's definitely the desert.
Deep desert.
Like the deep desert. And we're out here with about 85 other men at a retreat. And I am here with the way that I would describe you is as a visionary. Are you open just to receiving that just for the context of this? Or
yeah, I actually am. I've been becoming more and more open to stepping into that title. So
okay, all right. Well, let's play with it. Let's see if it works.
Yeah,
I'm down to do that. So I'm here with the CEO of Sonic Gods, the visionary Chris Hayman. How you doing? I'm
doing great. How you doing?
I am doing excellent. I'm doing excellent. So this is the All In CEO. All In CEO is about it's about entrepreneurial men who are stepping into greater leadership in their lives. It's about business, but it's also about becoming the CEO of your life. Here's a question: at what point did you realize that you had no idea what you were doing at all in business? And what was the point where you were like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm lost in space, and I've got to start turning it up on the leadership front so I can change my life.
Well, definitely had that right from the beginning. I mean, and to be honest, here's my philosophy on that is, I think in some form you have to have that forever. Because I still have that now, there's a lot of things that I've learned. There's a lot of things that I know now that I didn't know before. I've been doing this for a while, but there's a lot that every day I wake up and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing. In certain areas, again, there's some areas that I do know what I'm doing, but if you're building a company, every day that the company is growing, you are stepping into new territory. You're stepping into the unknown. So when you step in, when you're out there, out front as visionary CEO, you are in territory that you don't know, you don't have a map for. Which is why you need to put yourself around good people that can give you insight, that can give you, tips, tricks, just conversations. But yeah, for me, it's ongoing. My lack of knowing exactly what I'm doing is definitely day to day in my journey. But I love it. That's part of the fun, man.
Wow. I really like that answer. I love the fact that you embrace that, about the idea of embracing not knowing what you're doing, letting that lead into the fun of things, and being open to being in that inquiry. It's almost like a white belt mentality every single day, like being a student every day.
It is. You got to be. Otherwise, you can get to, I don't know what it is, not cocky, but you can get to, I think that is the point where you could potentially slow your growth. I'm constantly, I'm wanting to grow. I mean, I want to grow every single day, and I'm on a pursuit for growth every single day. So yeah, I feel like if I didn't have that, I'd be a bit more laid back on wanting to grow. And, I want to build an incredibly impactful global brand and global company, and to do that, I think you've got to be on that edge.
Yeah, I definitely believe in being on that edge. I want to talk about doing the impossible, the belief about doing the impossible. On Saturday, I was doing the impossible. And we both know that this is definitely the impossible. I was trying to reheat French fries. And that's just like absolutely impossible. I don't care. And if you're watching this, you know damn well it is not. And everybody's like, well, do you have an air fryer? Yes, I got an air fryer. And it's still impossible. And I'm just, so I was reheating some fries, and then some grease spilled on the back of my hand. That's how I got this. It was, and skin just went right off. Yeah. But the idea, but in the context of that was me doing the impossible. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you are journeying, like one of your goals is to push the limits of what you think you can do? How do you think that informs sort of your expansion as a business person and as a brand?
Yeah, I mean, something that Michelle, my wife, obviously, who you know, who's also co-CEO in Sonic Gods, we talk about all the time is exactly this. Like, we call it like going beyond, which is a bit more generalized, but the way we think about it is looking at the really big vision, which, to be honest, like really seems impossible a lot of the time. And this can be a lot, take shape in a lot of different ways. But I think that you have to really go there mentally into a place of the impossible, because I believe, as long as it stays in the laws of physics, if it seems impossible, but either you've seen someone else do it or you've seen some form of it, then everybody has it in them to be able to do it in some way. You might have to fight, you might have to become better, you might have to learn new skills, you might have to become mentally stronger. What we want to do, Michelle and I, with our company and just in our lives right now, if I was to think of it, it like seems impossible. Like 100% it seems like that is really impossible. But look at Elon Musk. There's one person I think of when he talks about going to Mars. I mean, that seems impossible because it's like going to another planet, but he actually makes it seem like it's no big deal. He's like, yeah, we're going to Mars. What? And that's, I think, the way you got to kind of like put it into your consciousness is you've got to make it feel like for yourself that even though it seems impossible, it shouldn't. You shouldn't make it feel impossible to yourself. You got to kind of make it feel like it may sound impossible, but we're going to make it happen. We will find a way. We're going to go around every corner. We're going to make ourselves strong. And I think but yeah, you have to show up. Like, you can't just put something that's impossible out there and then just hope that one day you're going to get there. You have to, it's like Mount Everest, right? Going to the peak of Mount Everest for, some and before anyone climbed it, impossible, but it happened, and there's a lot of other feats like it, and it's about figuring out how you optimize your mind, body, and spirit to be able to achieve the impossible. So that's what we try and do, every day. And yeah, it's a big challenge, but you just got to believe, be relentless, and make sure you make it happen. As long as you still want it, obviously everything changes too. Yeah.
I like the idea and the concept and the philosophy and the principle of going beyond, right? So I have a concept called the one more rule. And, what I do is if I tell myself that I'm going to do 10 push-ups, I do 11. If I owe somebody $100, I give them 101. Right. So my intention is I believe that abundance is not just what is received, it is also created.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So my intention is to always at minimum go one above anything, and to let that be in the way that I move in an abundant state. Right. So because I believe if what we put out, we receive energetically. Yep. Right. And so it's a really powerful thing. So I love the idea of going beyond. What does going beyond look like in the context of your business? Like, what is the nature of your business, and what does going beyond look like for you all?
Well, the nature of our business is content. So brand media, creating media at all levels for brands, from optimized social media content. So we have a strategy team and an analytical team, and then a creation team, producers, and essentially we are the messengers for the brand to communicate with their audience and to expand their reach in a big way through content. So everything from, again, social media content to commercials, all the way up to creating original shows, programming for brands, and building media networks for them, media networks. So so even in our content, what we do at Sonic Gods, what we do with our brands, even the mindset that we're trying to instill in our team and the culture that we're trying to build. Even on our wall at our office, we have a neon light that says "Go Beyond." And
I've seen it.
Yeah, you've seen it, and and that is a part of like what we kind of our ethos of Sonic Gods, because and what it means to us in the context of Sonic Gods, and what we do is about finding out what the bar is, and going beyond that bar. Like, what is the best that is whatever it is has ever been done, whatever, like, and whether it doesn't matter who you are in the team, and for Michelle and I, our bar needs to be the bar above that bar. So that's what going beyond really means to us on a kind of a simple level. We have other areas that we use it, but that's kind of the one area that we really talk a lot about is don't come up and play average. Don't even come up and play as the best. Come up and play one above the best. It actually kind of plays a little bit into what you talked about, is like always try and go to that next level, but it means you have to understand what what the bar is at all times. So we have very high standards at our company. Again, we have a team of strategists, a team of analysts, so we get to set the bar through data and research and knowing what it is we're going after. And we like to think what we do in content, and we see this in our results for our clients, that we really do show up in that way with our with our content, with our results, and that allows us to grow as a company, to help our brands grow significantly, and to really, I guess, go beyond even our own expectations as a business. We grew. Now it's over 500% from last year. And it's funny because now that's our bar, right? So next year it's like, what does that look like to go beyond that? So it's always like putting yourself in that, and not sitting back. So it's kind of similar to the visionary outlook of climbing to that top of Everest. And I would say though, what's the next peak?
What's the next peak beyond Everest? Well, here's an interesting thing about the Everest climbing. And I think you may have seen the talk with the woman who climbed Mount Everest, the woman whose team climbed Mount Everest.
Yeah. I think I know who you're talking about.
The first American woman's team to climb Mount Everest.
Yeah.
I forgot her name, but here's what she told me. And this is really interesting. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah. Allison Levine.
Allison Levine. There
Yeah.
you go. Shout out Allison, wherever you may be. You might be on a mountain or something like that.
Yeah.
If you are. So one of the interesting things that she said is that when you are climbing a mountain, you go up, I'm just going to throw out a number. I don't remember the exact numbers, but you climb 10,000 feet or 20,000 feet or whatever it is. Let's call it 10,000 feet. And then you have to go down, right? 2,000 or 3,000, whatever. Yeah. And then you climb another 10,000 the next day. You go down another 10,000 next. Do you remember why?
You have to remind me what was it? But I do remember that. I can't remember why.
All right. Altitude adjustment.
Right. Yeah, because your blood is it something to do with your blood and like your body adjusting?
Yeah, like just your body adjusting to the altitude. And the way that I receive that in the context of business success and life and success as a person is that the altitude of success is thin. And so you have to get adjusted to the altitude of success. What are your thoughts on that? Like, and what are your thoughts on that? And where did you see yourself go up and then take a little dip, and then go up and take a little dip?
Yeah. Well, one thing that we're learning, and whenever I say we, by the way, it's usually my wife and I because we run the company together. But one thing that we're learning is that it really, in a nutshell, which is that as we grow the company, if you go too fast, which we've been going really fast in the last few years, you can really trip over yourself and you can really have some problems, because as you build a company, if you are not smart about the things that you put in place as you grow, you're gonna get to a point where you're not laying down the bricks behind you. You're just sort of like throwing them behind you, right? So the scaffolding is rickety rock and rocking. I'll give you an example of that. So as we've grown this year, it's been absolutely crucial for us to get HR really sorted out and put together in the right way. Legal, a legal department in our company, really put together with a great team. And just generally our systems and processes across the board for everything we do, from talent acquisition all the way through to just generally how our service operates internally. If we go up too fast and then stay there, and then try and go keep going like it is on the mountain, rather than going up and then coming down, climatizing, and then going back up, then you end up looking back at what you've created behind you, and it is unstable as hell. It's really unstable. We see this all the time, with companies that we've worked with in the past, where they're on the outside, they look super successful, like they're making a ton of money, like things look right. But then, as we used to do a lot of management on the marketing side. We would come in, and one of the things that we would see almost all the time with these companies that have grown really fast is that their operations, the way their team works, their culture is fragmented, and it's really unstable. And it's because of that reason. So we're trying to be very intentional about how how to move fast, but making sure that we put the right infrastructure in place behind us. One of the ways I like to think about it is I guess as the visionary, I'm out front laying brick by brick. It's almost like I'm putting the bricks down in front of me, but the team behind is putting them in a formation that is solid and is stable, and that the rest of the team and everyone can walk behind without it like collapsing. Yeah. And so as you do that, you whether it's bricks or a bridge or whatever, I think that that's so important. And it's really important to be aware of that stuff, because it'd be so easy to, for example, grow really fast and not put the things in place for HR, for example. And then, before you know it, you have 50, 60, 70 plus employees, and you could be in some real trouble. Like and it could completely destabilize the company. You could even lose everything you've created. So I think it's really important, and it's really important to be very aware, of making sure that the infrastructure and the foundation of what you're building is not taken for granted as you grow. For sure.
And move into it. Look, you can race up to the top of Mount Everest, but by the time you get to the top, your head will explode.
Yes.
So I hear you on making sure that the foundation that you acclimatize and make sure that you get acclimated to each different level, because as you move up in levels, you move up in responsibility, you move up in new awarenesses, you move up in a lot of those different things. Here's a question I have in reference to, because this is the second time this has come up What made you get in? What drove you, or sort of said to you, I need to partner with my wife to run this business. This is not the first time this has come up. Had a conversation with Mark Victor Hansen, him and his wife. He and his wife, they write their books.
Oh, wow. I didn't
For
know.
sure.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
they write the books.
Cool.
So he was like, we. I was like, who is we?
Yeah.
Right. So, in your instance, what drives you to partner with your wife? What is it like partnering with your wife? And what have you learned as a result of being co-CEOs with your wife?
Yeah, well, for a start, so I started the company on my own, and Michelle had her own company. So we both had companies, and I mean, long story short, we did decide that that coming together was going to be a really good idea. One of the ways we came to that was that it's actually funny because the way it started was. We were Sonic Oz was starting to get into marketing, and what Michelle was doing with her company was marketing at a really high level. So we were like, oh, can some of the stuff that you're doing with your team, can we like do some of that with our clients? And it just kind of started happening naturally. And then we really joined forces about 2 years ago. And I think there's a couple things about it. Like, number one, so Michelle, my wife, she is somebody that has a completely different skill set to me, and not just skill set. Like, her as a person, she's a people person. I'm not as much a people person. I'm a bit more of, I guess you could say, an introvert. But she's amazing with people. She's also just like really great with putting in place systems and processes and like the pieces, like and the way she works with people on that as well is just really amazing. Like, she's an incredible people manager. And so early on when we first started, I'm kind of like the guy out front, I guess you could say, the visionary, the strategist, the person that's looking at as to where we need to go, and bring those pieces, assemble, the people. And together it just clicked. Like we didn't actually know how much it was going to click. But like, as soon as we started working together, it literally was like magic. And another thing I'll say about that is, and it's actually funny because before Michelle, I was thinking, because she was doing her own thing, and I was like, I'd love to be able to get a partner in this business because I can take it, so far, but like there are definitely some fundamental skills that I don't have, naturally. And so I was thinking about, partner. This is way before, and then when we partnered, it was just like, it was an amazing situation because the biggest issue I had with bringing in a partner, which I think a lot of people have not only had before, but has played out badly, is trust. It's like, because you just don't know. Like, everybody out there has their own agenda, and it doesn't have to be like a malicious agenda or anything, but everyone has their own thing that they want to get out of whatever it is they're doing. So when you bring someone in as a partner, you can have as many conversations as you want, but unless you know that person and you've known them for like, and you've been able to bond and create a relationship. I mean, I can't speak for everyone because I know that there's a lot of relationships out there where people have come together and it's been great, but you just don't know. It's a crapshoot, I feel like. With Michelle and I, we trust each other like with our lives. We obviously love each other, so everything we do, we're thinking about one another. And also, it's for both of our destiny together to build something that is right for each other, not it's not like a selfish on either part. So yeah, all of those pieces came together, and yeah, it was literally like an explosion. I mean, the company's been growing like a damn rocket ship ever since we started fully coming together on it. So
wow. Yeah. I love hearing couples leading together.
Yeah,
I love hearing that.
I will say one more thing as well.
Go for it.
I feel like I'm in a very privileged position because Michelle and I, like, we love working together, and we love like being around each other like all the time. And I don't think that a lot of couples have that same thing where, you know, a lot of couples, I mean, I'm sure you've heard where they're like, I could never work with my wife. Like, there's just no way. I love my wife, but I could never, ever work with my wife. So I'm like so grateful that we love working together. Like we really love it. We love building together, like building, like every day making progress. We're both like growth oriented. So we love to grow as well. So we grow together.
Yeah.
We go to conferences together. We, you know, so that's, I think, a big key that unfortunately is not like super easily just to go out and get you a wife or a husband and be like, I'm going to start a business with my wife or husband. Like we just got really lucky in that sense. So I will say that I'm very grateful to the universe for that.
Hey, well, I'm glad that I love the dynamic between you and Michelle. And I love Michelle. I think Michelle's a great human being. I think she's a really strong leader. I think she has great skills, and I'm privileged to know her as well. And you know, when one of the interesting things is that you were talking about, so really like at a foundational level, it sounds like, you know, collaboration is at the foundation of this growth. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Got it. So collaboration. It also sounds like there's an opportunity to really assess, so to identify things like collaboration. There's a self-awareness about knowing who you are and who that other person needs to be.
Yep.
About stepping into that level of self-awareness. And it also seems like there needs to be a desire, like a mutual desire to push each other to be better.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And like that, there's I think a big responsibility in that for each other as well. Like that is a very important thing and that's actually a constant thing that needs to happen because, you know, some days I'm feeling good and I need to lift her up, and other days she's feeling good and she needs to lift me up, and then we both have to, like constantly push each other, you know, as well. That it's not the case where there's just one of us that's like dragging the other behind. Like it has to be mutual. Like it has to be a growth journey that is being pushed from both sides. Otherwise, it's just not going to work.
Yeah, and that is it. How do you push each other without pushing each other away?
How do you push each other without pushing each other away? I think you have to have the same goals of growth and vision, which we both have big visions for what we want to do in our lives. But I think that there's also got to be boundaries. Like we work a lot, but we also, you know, love each other and we have time together too. You know, like our weekends, you know, it's funny because in some cases I'll work together. Like for example, on a weekend we'll go to the park and we'll sit in the park and we'll like brainstorm and we'll do stuff. It's funny because it's still work, but we like love it. We'll go for walks and, you know, and we'll talk and what have you. So there's kind of that dynamic going on, which is like a light version of growth and like pushing each other and having those conversations. And then there's just like also we do stuff outside of work together as a couple that are important to do as well. You know, at night, you know, we'll watch whatever things that we both love.
What are you watching?
It's so funny because everything comes back to business. Shark Tank. No, we love non-scripted stuff. We don't really watch a lot of scripted stuff unless it's like movies. But like we love docuseries. So like the F1 documentary on Netflix, like we both love that. You know, like Michael Jordan documentary.
Which one?
The one, I forgot what they call it, the Netflix one though.
The Last Dance.
The Last Dance. So good.
Ooh, The Last Dance.
Yeah.
Shout out to Scottie Pippen, who is now trying to drag Michael Jordan through the mud, saying that Michael didn't appreciate him for what he contributed to the Bulls. I'm gonna let them work that out. That's beyond my pay grade.
Yeah.
But But there is something. A reason why I'm glad we got to the last dance, because you do have something about building a championship team. What do you think it takes to build a championship team?
Oh man, I think it takes, this is funny because obviously we've worked together and we did our first company town hall, not too long ago. You brought everyone in the team together and we talked about building a championship team and like really casting the vision of the company and what it takes to be a championship team. And I think one of the biggest takeaways from that was powerful for me was part of what it takes to build a championship team is for everybody to know they're on a championship team.
Pause on that. I'm going to repeat. Part of what it takes to build a championship team is for everyone to know they're on a championship team. Please expound on that.
Yeah, well, so we had this town hall, and before that vision was cast, we talk about the vision and doing big things as a company, but to be able to unite everyone's mindset and solidify the fact that you're in this room in this moment to be part of becoming a championship team, and there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that, but then there's also a lot that everybody individually and together can take and rise and become greater because of that. And I think that was like the big thing is like in that moment, and it literally like the aftermath of that event was like insane. Like everybody showed up differently.
Wow.
And because I think it was that mindset shift, like they didn't know, you know what I mean? Like you could have, and we, I know we always talk about like having, if it's a NBA team or any kind of team, if you don't set that at the front and say, guys or girls, whoever, this is a champion, like you are on a championship team and there are certain expectations that come with that. And if you don't, if you don't want to be on a champion, if you don't have any desire to be a champion, then there's the door. And
I'm gonna stay here. I want to be on a championship team.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is a really profound, like that's like a bomb drop, because that feels like you said casting a vision, setting the vision. It sounds like manifestation. It sounds like stepping into a greater, like a powerful belief. And some people still believe that they're on the 1991 Milwaukee Bucks, and that was not a good team. So so this is the way I'm looking at it. So you have top tier talent that's never been on a championship team, meaning like the best, seeking to be the best in the field, seeking to set the standard, seeking to lead. And then you have people who are just not with the program, right? How do you get somebody who's top tier talent to believe that they're on a championship team?
Yeah, I think it's certainty. I think it's first of all starts with leadership, because as in this case, Michelle and I as leaders, like if we don't believe it, and if we're not certain that we're gonna be building a championship team, then you can't expect anyone else to believe it. And I mean believe it and feel it. Like it's one thing to say it, but then obviously the actions have to follow. And I think so. I think it's that like transferring that certainty into everyone and having them feel like have that feeling of like, oh damn, like these guys aren't playing around. Like this is a championship team. And that what comes with that for Michelle and I as well is like, yeah, like if you don't show up as a champion, like you're not going to make the team. You have an opportunity to, and we're going to give you the opportunity to step up. But if you don't step up, then you have to be replaced. Yeah. And so there's that. And then I think the other thing is like the unity of the team, so that once that is put out there is for everybody to hold each other accountable with the fact that they're on a championship team. We have to operate at championship level, hold your teammates accountable, everybody lift each other up, work together. And I think that comes to what culture you're building in the company. And this is something that our culture, right now we're at like somewhere around like 35 people in the company. And yeah, we're really at that point now where we're starting to move away from being a small organization where it was just like 10 people or 12 people, where it's like it's easy at least to have a culture that's quite closely knit. But as it starts to get bigger and bigger, you really need a way to like unify everyone with the same mindset and I guess which comes around the values of what you represent as a brand, but that culture becomes so important because that then allows you to have I guess like an anchor for your messaging out to the team, which is we are a championship team, you are a champion. Like you are, and that's how we expect you to show up. That's how you should expect yourself to show up. And the thing is that I will say about this as well is, if you need support in that, we're here for you. Meaning that obviously, like we expect everyone to show up, but we also understand that everybody's human. Like people need support, they need help, they need this, that, and the other. And I think as long as they're willing to show up, and with to be a champion, but maybe they don't have the tools or there's some help they need, then we show up for them in that way to be able to support that also. And at the same time, Michelle and I need that support too, to be champions. This is why we work with people that have the same mindset also. So I think that goes back to the vision. It's part of the vision to be champions. Like that's part of the mindset.
I love that. It is definitely part of the vision to be a champion, and to be a champion, you have to believe that you're a champion, and you have to call people forward into championship mentality. So that definitely resonates. What is the new world? So now we've talked, Sonic Gods is evolving. It's a content company. What's the new world that you're creating?
What's
the old world, and what's the new world?
The old world. Are you talking in terms of what we're putting out into the world and the way we see the future?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the way that we, so the old world is a world here's the thing. Everything that's happening, out in the world right now there's an incredible amount of noise, and it's pulling people all over the place. And the brands, the companies, even the individuals, the people, the visionaries out there that want to create impact really need to build a meaningful community around their brand, and a community that is well looked after. It's real, it's organic, and it grows. There's conversation, there's value that's given and received. And so that's what we're trying to build with our company is really at the end of it is these communities that rally behind their brands that they love, so they can be part of something that actually is going to in turn move humanity and the world forward in some way. So as far as it relates to content, content is the way I think of it, it's just communication. It's the way we communicate. So on the behalf of a brand, we communicate with people on behalf of the brand through the stories that we tell, the content that we create, the different messaging we put together. And, where everything is going, it is incredibly important that brands are aware that the way they need to communicate with people is constantly changing, and it's evolving, and it's moving forward. And so if they're not on top of that, this is why companies die. This is why companies fall away. They build a product that, you know, has a ton of buzz and people are buying or whatever, or they build a brand. But if they don't keep on top of how to communicate to their audience, if in a meaningful way, in a transparent way, in a way where they're also giving value, then that audience is that they're gonna lose interest, and they're gonna find something else. And I think the future of the biggest brands in the world are the ones that tell the best stories. The storytelling is now, in my opinion, more important than ever. And I mean storytelling that goes beyond, you know, advertising. We do advertising in our company, but we do it as almost like a gateway to be able to, build these communities that are even go beyond social media. So with our media networks, the idea is we create original programming, series, you know, even short films, feature films, like anything that's to help tell stories of a brand, to connect with the community. And the idea is it's a two-way street. We want to give value to this community from the brand on behalf of the brand. It's free. And yes, like the idea is then, you know, it's a give and take, but really the brands that build something for their universe and invite people into it, like those are the brands that are going to win. And so that's, to me, where, you know, how we look at the future is the brands who tell the best stories are going to be the brands that win.
Got it. I love that. Storytelling is the wave of the future. Last two questions. Where are you not all in?
This is a very loaded question for me, because I know exactly where I'm not all in, and I have this battle of discomfort and comfort for myself. You know, I like to be uncomfortable in certain situations, but, you know, I personally like to find the balance of comfort and discomfort. I don't want to be 100% discomfort. That's not the life I personally want to live, simply because, like, I want to actually be happy. And I want to love my life. I don't want to be miserable and in discomfort all the time. So, but what happens with that? And I think what the answer to the question is, like, I'm still trying to figure out that balance, because there are some areas I'm not all in, but the all in part of it means really pushing into discomfort in a big way. And in some, and this is more personally, for example, I had a really, I would say, pretty strict routine that did a lot for me and like was great. And I kind of fell off of it a little bit, and, you know, and I get back on it. And one of the reasons is we live part-time in Miami, and a lot of the time going back and forth, it kind of throws our routines off a little bit. This is just one example, but I know that there is a part of me that I'm like, if I like stretch myself and push myself to a way harder level than I've been in that, you know, routine period, I'm sure I could probably, you know, push myself to another level. So this is actually funny, because even like being here while we've been here on this trip is something that I've been thinking about getting back onto, you know, when I get back. But again, it's finding that balance of having those discomforts that are right for you, and making sure you do have those, because if you're just comfortable with everything, then you're not growing. But there's some personal areas that I'm definitely not all in yet, that I need to find what all in is for me. The
what all in is for you. I love that. What are you the most proud of about yourself?
I think I'm most proud of the fact that I guess no matter what, I just keep going. And, you know, obviously, like everyone, there's ups and downs. I mean, being a CEO of a company and building a company, it is an absolute roller coaster. And, you know, there's so many times that you feel like, why am I doing this to myself? Like, you know, like, well, what is the reason, like there's, you have up days and down days. And on those down days, sometimes you really feel like that. And then, obviously you get back up and you remember and you're like, yes, this is why I'm doing this. And I think that is something that I'm proud of, because, it'd be easy just to like, I don't want to say quit, because I would never quit, but it'd be easy to, I guess, step off the gas and like just pull back and be like, yeah, I think I'm chill here.
Yeah.
It'd be easy to not go beyond, easier, and
Gotta go back to the values.
Yeah. And like, I want to do extraordinary things in my life, and I want to give back in an extraordinary way. My philosophy for giving back is to be able to create a foundation. It's kind of like that philosophy of putting your mask on before helping others.
For sure.
And so building extraordinary wealth is a big part of my philosophy for building wealth for others and being able to help others. I definitely, Michelle even more than me, but we are like, impact and creating impact for other human beings is definitely, something that's incredibly important to us. And we're going to do that in a big way. And I think that's why we have to get back up every day.
Yeah.
It's not about us at the end of the day. Like, there's only so much you can like do for yourself, money you can make and all that. And I think that's the thing. Like, we have a responsibility to show up every day. And I think, I'm proud of that fact, because you could take the easy road, or you could take the road where you do get beaten up along the way. But again, like at the same time, if you learn to kind of love it, and you like kind of, you can, I think it's very key to be playful with that, and have like a playful mindset with the fact that you do get beaten up a lot of the time, get slapped around.
Yeah.
Just be like, yeah, go on, give me another slap around the face. I can take it. But yeah, so I think that's what at least I'm not sure if I'm most proud, but that's definitely the first thing that comes to mind. I'm proud that I can do that.
I like it. And listen, that being, acknowledging yourself and being, and acknowledge, like I say, if you don't celebrate it, it never happened.
Yeah.
Right. So
yep.
Being proud of yourself for going beyond is really powerful. Last two questions. What is your word for this year going into next year? What's your word for next year?
Oh, yeah. Expansion. Mind, body, spirit, and business.
Got it. Expansion. I dig it. Last question. What's the one thing that you would tell a young rising CEO that he needs to know, to learn, to embody, to become a CEO in his life?
I think it's really important to fall in love with personal growth. I got into personal growth, earlier in my life, and there's no way I would be able to do what I'm doing now if I didn't constantly pursue personal growth. And I guess what I mean by personal growth is like, whether it's conferences, mentors, even just conversations with other people, reading books, listening to audiobooks, exploration. You got to stay curious every single day, and don't feel like you have to act like you like know everything. Be somebody that's like incredibly open to the fact that you don't know everything, and that you're on a journey of exploration. Because at the beginning it's really tough. One of the things that I found that's really tough, so Gary Vee and a lot of people talk about this, they talk about how you shouldn't care what anybody thinks about you. I totally believe in that, and right now I am now starting to believe, or not, it's even believe, like understand what that means more than ever, and be able to kind of have that awareness. But when you're a young CEO, it's hard to navigate that, because you need people to trust you. You need people to believe in you. You need people to feel like you're a good bet. And so you do have to show up a certain way. If you showed up like just not like giving a shit about what anybody thinks, then and I went through that myself. Like in the early days, I did feel like I had to like put on a bit more of a like, I guess you could say a bit more of an experienced persona to get where I wanted to go. And I will say it worked. And that's not to say I, lied or anything like that, but it, you have to show up in a certain way. So, but I think that the growth part of it is like, it is the way that you can, whoever you show up as, that's the thing that can support how you show up is the growth, is so you don't become an actor. You are actually real. Like you, and also the other thing I would say is I would definitely check in with yourself about whether you actually really love what you do.
Ooh.
And I would say this, being a CEO is not necessarily for everyone. And what I mean by that is right now I'm a CEO, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I am like a born CEO. Like I don't necessarily feel like I have like CEO. Like I wasn't like, yeah, I'm going to be a CEO and now I'm a CEO. No, like still to this day, I don't feel like I'm really a CEO. I'm a CEO by default. But but I think, I do run a company and I have to show up, as a leader. And that by default makes me a CEO right now. But I think that, so I think just really focus on growth. I think that don't put the pressure of being a CEO on yourself, even though technically or by default you are a CEO. Because I think that that's potentially a label that can put unnecessary pressure on people. And just know that, you have to show up in certain ways, but just make sure you back it up with becoming the real deal.
Like Holyfield.
Yeah.
Being the real deal. I dig it.
Yeah.
This has been an awesome conversation. How you feel?
I feel great. Yeah. I love talking about this stuff and appreciate you. And this has been fun.
Absolutely, dude. And the couch is great. It's not necessarily the sexiest color, but I wouldn't have this in.
I mean, this is an Arizona couch.
It is an Arizona couch.
This is an Arizona ranch couch now.
It is. Chris, thank you for joining us on the All In CEO. Where can people find you?
They can find me at, sonicgods.net is our current site, although that's going to be changed to .media. So check out one of those. And then me personally, on Instagram, I'm Chris Hayman Ventures. And you can just find me across social media. We're going to be putting out a lot of content in the coming very near future, including myself. So there'll be a lot of fun stuff on there, and definitely some stuff for CEOs too.
Cool. I
want to, definitely share my journey because I'm definitely not a perfect CEO.
I dig it. Well, thanks for joining us on the show. Thank you for all for watching, and join us in for the next episode. Catch y'all later. Fuego.